Pitt says AI could help more mid-budget films get made. This is from Variety. This article is causing a bit of controversy. Badger, you have the notes. Give it to me.
Pitt believes AI could help solve one of Hollywood's biggest problems, the shrinking number of 40 million to 90 million movies being made. He argues that AI could make expensive visual effects more affordable, allowing filmmakers to produce ambitious stories without blockbuster-level budgets. For Pitt, the key is how the technology is used. He isn't necessarily, excuse me, I'm dying. He isn't necessarily seeing AI as something that destroys filmmaking jobs. Instead, he sees it potentially making certain productions financially possible again. Pitt becomes much more cautious when AI is used to recreate an actor's performance. He acknowledged that AI could potentially replicate one of his performances depending on the filmmaker directing the technology, but there's a major problem. An AI version might produce Pitt's appearance and mannerisms without reproducing the actual creative decisions he made as an actor. That's an important distinction for Pitt. AI can potentially imitate the result, but imitation isn't necessarily the same thing as performance. Pitt also discussed body scanning, which has become increasingly common for visual effects, stunts, and de-aging. He's been scanned for roughly 2 decades, but he's always put contractual protections in place requiring that he own the scans and that they be destroyed after they're used. Comments highlight one of the major concerns surrounding AI in Hollywood: who owns an actor's digital likeness and what happens to it years after a movie is finished. For Pitt, that distinction appears to come down to human identity and emotional authenticity.
What do you think? I mean, Axanar, Rob, could have been made far easier with the use of AI. Is that something?
Oh, you could have made the whole thing with AI.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and I'm sure it would have been better than what Alec made.
And we just saw Star Wars Theory's Vader project,
which by the way,
zero AI in it.
Can I give him a shout out?
Please.
Extraordinary.
It's
extraordinary.
It got me excited about Star Wars again. When Mace Windu shows up and like the stakes, like it felt personal.
And it was all hand animated.
Better than Mando and Grogu in terms of the amount of feeling.
I mean, you know, it's really funny because when people become YouTube personalities or whatever, then you have to deal with. But when it comes right back down to doing work, when people actually sit down to do the work, who cares? You know, that piece of work, both of the Vader movies are so beautifully conceived and mounted and created. And, you know, it reminds me of like when comic book creators, when I read Dark Empire, you know, I read Dark Empire, 91? And then when Timothy Zahn came out with the Thrawn trilogy, here's 2 pieces of work by different creators that loved Star Wars, that thought about it, that spent more time. That Vader 2, man, Theory knocked that shit out of the universe. Unbelievable work. And I look at that and I think, God,
you're muted.
And our young boy here was right there to support him.
And also
yes.
it was
Mr.
made,
Badger.
it was
angry.
made
Angry was not angry when he was supporting Theory's work.
Very happy.
But it
very
was
happy.
It was made with a love of Star Wars, not by some corporate edict that we have to have 8 hours of programming on Disney Plus. And look, I'm just excited that people like Star Wars Theory, things like, you know, like whatever you think, Axanar, putting the controversy aside, that I really think the future of fandom is fan-made work.